right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Thursday is a weather alert day. A few strong to severe storms are possible during the day. The Weather First team is tracking the timing and the threats.
Lights out in North City.
With more lights, it would be more safe for the kids.
Neighbors fear broken streetlights will lead to more crime. Tonight we're shedding light on why they may have to wait for a fix. First, developing tonight, fire breaks out at Jamestown Mall after years of sitting empty and just months before demolition. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred is on assignment tonight. The fire at Jamestown Mall is now under control. It broke out just a few hours ago at the abandoned shopping complex off North Lindbergh in North St. Louis County. Our Laura Barcheschi just got back from the scene and has reaction from leaders who say the mall's demolition is long overdue. Laura.
Mike, this has been a difficult fire to fight because it has been decaying and vacant for so long. The Blackjack Fire Department says they were called out around 5:45 and saw flames coming through the roof on what used to be the Dillard side of Jamestown Mall. While it is now under control, they had to call in for heavy equipment to get to the heart of this deep-seated fire. Crews on the scene say there is no electricity to the building, therefore no sprinklers or fire suppression systems to help. The interim Blackjack Fire Chief says there is limited water supply in the area, and overall, it's been very challenging to try and attack from both sides.
Absolutely for the firefighters, because the buildings are falling down naturally. You add the fire into it, weakens it as well. We have to get in and work on it, so it does create more of a hazard for us.
He says 2 firefighters were injured in this process and transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. St. Louis County Council Chair Shalonda Webb says she has wanted the Jamestown Mall building to come down for 11 years now. She hopes this incident creates a sense of urgency to move forward so that no other lives are put at risk.
I know it's just probably to others another fire, or it needs to come down anyway. But for this community, it's enough. It is definitely enough. We want it down, and we want to have something that represents and be a beacon for this community.
Firefighters even had to deploy drones to get a better visual on tackling this fire. Luckily, Port Authority staff says the environmental remediation had been completed, so there aren't any hazardous materials in the building anymore. They say they have $12 million in funding to demolish it and have agreements in place with the state, but are still finalizing agreements with the county.
It's just ready to go. As soon as we get the funding in place and all the agreements executed, then we should be in a position to basically issue the request for proposals for a demolition contractor to take the property down.
The Port Authority says there has been one other significant fire at the old Jamestown Mall on the other side in 2019 near what used to be Macy's. Demolition could begin as soon as 4 months. Mike.
Laura, thanks. Well, a warm and windy night in St. Louis. Temperatures reach the 80s today, and we can reach 80 again tomorrow. But take a look at this video out of Oklahoma tonight. A severe weather outbreak with possible tornadoes is causing widespread damage. It's part of a large storm system hitting Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska tonight. And storms will develop over Missouri tomorrow. And that's why Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell has us in a weather alert for our Thursday. Right, Scott?
That's right, especially, Mike, going into tomorrow afternoon when the likelihood of seeing stronger thunderstorms will be increasing from the west as that front approaches. We've watched this evening as those thunderstorms have blossomed across portions of Oklahoma, stretching all the way up into Nebraska and Iowa. There's the cell that is just east of Oklahoma City, still producing a probable tornado near Shawnee. It's caused all kinds of problems. Then we go to the north in Kansas City, north and west of downtown Kansas City, pretty stormy, and you have some severe weather with that cell as well, at least in pockets. But for tomorrow, the severe weather threat shifts south and east, and that includes us. We look at our Weather First Futurecast tomorrow, and the simulated radar showing that line of showers and storms, some of which could grow to be strong to severe, developing off to the west of St. Louis between 2 and 3, and then moving into the metro area between 3 and 5, and pressing into the metro east after that. This storm will provide us with the opportunity for some gusty winds, mainly after 2 o'clock into the early evening hours, but it's wind and hail that are the main threats. not anything like what we saw Saturday, in that tomorrow, any of those severe storms should be a lot more isolated than what we were looking at Saturday. We'll check back in with you in a few minutes, Mike, and we'll talk about what's coming our way for the weekend.
And remember, you can get the latest weather first forecast anytime. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send it right to your phone. Tonight, a longtime St. Louis politician is livid over what he calls a lack of lighting in his North Side neighborhood. New tonight, our Robert Townsend looked into the issue and he uncovered some unexpected twists to this story.
Lighting is security.
For 15 years, Anthony Bell has proudly served as the committee man for the new and recently merged 14th Ward in North St. Louis.
It's been volunteer work. I spent 90% of my life in volunteer work.
What do you like about the job?
It's addressing people's problems.
Now Bell is sick of one nagging problem.
Oh man, more than frustrated.
He's furious about these two broken pieces from banged up light poles. Both are located on Bailey Avenue down from Bell's home. The concerned committee man says the one near Garrison has looked like this for the past 6 months.
Them wires is live wires, you know. I just happen to know how to pick them up with my hand because I'm very familiar with construction.
Just feet away, he says this other potential danger has been here for 9 months and counting.
I done called several times since last year to address the problem.
His calls to City Hall left him in the dark.
And when I called again, they said they had them contracted out through contractors. And I found out that even the contractor's supposed to do their job.
Nothing never been done about it.
Neighbors fear not having more working lights might lead to more crimes.
We need more lighting, you know, for the safety for the children, for the resident in the neighborhood.
Bell brought us here about 3 blocks away from his neighborhood to Natural Bridge in Salisbury. He wanted us to see these brand new electrical poles. We counted 100 just sitting here.
And I only needed 2 for my block.
But he can't have these because a city spokesman says they're for a federal transportation project.
I just want the lights put back up.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Now, we reached out to the mayor's office. Spokesman Nick Dunn released a statement saying supply chain issues for both light poles and fixtures have created a backlog of these requests. So the city is working to replace these fixtures in the order it receives these requests as back-ordered materials arrive. Residents who need to make a request can reach out to the city, and how you do that, you can find that information on KSDK.com. The 84-year-old man accused of shooting a Kansas City teenager after he mistakenly rang his doorbell was in court today. Andrew Lester pleaded not guilty to first-degree assault and armed criminal action. 16-year-old Ralph Yarl is now out of the hospital. His family released a new photo calling him a walking miracle. They're pressing for additional hate crime charges.
Despite the pretext that he believed that someone was touching the door, there's no justification for the use of force other than he observed a black boy on his porch. And if you targeted this young man because of his black skin, that is in fact a hate crime.
As part of his release on bond, Lester cannot possess weapons in his home, nor can he leave the state of Missouri without permission of his bond supervisor. Tonight, a St. Louis man is charged in connection to a robbery at a South County gas station that left a woman seriously injured. Prosecutors have charged Chad Jones with first-degree robbery and second-degree assault. The robbery happened last week at the Quick Trip at Union and Rivas Barracks Roads. Police say the victim was pumping gas when Jones grabbed her purse from inside her car and got back into his car. The woman jumped on his hood. She was thrown to the ground as he sped off. Tonight, a St. Charles County family is grieving for a young mother.
Empty. Hollow. There's a lot of pain.
32-year-old Jessica Howe died after a tragic fall at work. It happened Saturday at the Costco store in St. Peters. Howe was working in a food prep area when she fell, hit her head on a sink, and she was put on life support and died 2 days later. Howe and her husband have 2 young kids. They would have celebrated their first wedding and their daughter's birthday this weekend. Instead, he's planning her funeral.
She'd be telling me to get over it. It's okay. Just be there for them. Have fun.
We reached out to Costco but have not heard back. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help her family. We have a link with this story at KSDK.com. KSDK.com. Tonight we know who the St. Charles County executive has appointed to be the new prosecuting attorney. Steve Ellman has chosen Joe McCullough. He's a former St. Louis City police officer who earned a law degree. He has worked in private practice and has served as the assistant prosecuting attorney in St. Charles County and a municipal judge. And he's the brother of former St. Louis County prosecutor Bob McCullough. The council will vote on his appointment Monday night. He will replace Tim Lomar, who resigned last month after 11 years in office. He says he decided to go into private practice. Tonight, the commonly used abortion pill, mifepristone, will stay on the market at least until Friday. Supreme Court justices say that's when they'll decide on new restrictions for the drug. Justices are deciding on a lower court's ruling about the FDA's approval of the pill. The pill's maker is suing the FDA in an effort to preserve access. Tomorrow is April 20th, or 420. That date is synonymous with celebrating marijuana use. This will be the first 420 days since Missouri legalized recreational marijuana. Several area businesses are planning events and offering special items. For more information on those and a reminder of the laws you must still follow, just go to the As Seen on TV section at KSDK.com. Bud Light boycott. Claims continue to brew in the wake of a transgender sponsorship. Tonight we verify the ties between the Anheuser-Busch CEO and the CIA. Vacation inflation. Airfares are sky high.
By May, there's almost no hope.
Tonight, booking your summer travel while making ends meet.
Well, it's been a stormy night from Oklahoma all the way up into Nebraska and Iowa. We get our chances tomorrow afternoon. What comes after the severe threat that will be an adjustment for all of us?
Today marks the 28th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing. 168 seconds of silence was observed during a memorial, 1 second for each person who died that day. On April 19, 1995, a rental truck full of explosives detonated outside the Murrah Federal Building. Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were convicted in the attack, which was in retribution for the deadly federal raid on the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas, exactly 2 years earlier. McVeigh was executed in 2001. More backlash tonight for Bud Light. A Central Florida restaurant has stopped serving the beer in response to the company's partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. The owners of Grill's Seafood Deck and Tiki Bar in Port Canaveral say on Facebook that Bud Light supports something in direct opposition with their biblical faith. The controversy has led to calls to boycott the brand. Anheuser-Busch's CEO responded to the backlash last week. Now he's the subject of claims made online that he's a CIA operative. Our Verify team looked into this viral claim. Here's Audion Daytil.
Anheuser-Busch CEO Brendan Whitworth was the target of anti-trans backlash online over the company's recent Bud Light partnership with social media influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Mulvaney, who is transgender, posted a video on April 1st announcing her partnership with Bud Light, which is owned by Anheuser-Busch. 2 weeks later, Whitworth said in a statement, the company never intended to be part of a discussion that divides people. That same day, screenshots of Whitworth's LinkedIn profile went viral, pointing to a section that claims he worked for the Central Intelligence Agency. But is that true? Let's verify. Our sources are Brendan Whitworth's LinkedIn profile, Anheuser-Busch, and a Fox Business profile on Whitworth. It's true. Anheuser-Busch CEO Brendan Whitworth did work for the CIA. According to his LinkedIn profile, Whitworth worked for the agency as an operations officer from 2001 to 2006. People also claimed that his LinkedIn account was deleted after his CIA connections were revealed. But as of April 18th, the page is still active. Anheuser-Busch's website also references Whitworth's time working at the CIA, and Whitworth mentioned it in an interview with Fox Business in 2022. So we can verify, yes, Whitworth did work for the CIA, but he left the agency in 2006. With your Verify, I'm Audion Daytil.
What would you like us to verify? Send an email to verify@ksdk.com. If you were a Facebook user for the last 15 years, the social media company could owe you money. It's part of a $725 million class action settlement for sharing private user data. Most people who had an active account between May 24, 2007 and December 22, 2022 qualify. You have until August to apply, and we have more information on all this in the As Seen on TV section at KSDK.com. Well, if you're traveling with your family this summer but haven't booked flights, get ready for some sticker shock. Domestic fares are forecasted to exceed pre-pandemic prices as the summer travel season heats up. Michelle Lee shares 3 ways to save money on your trip in tonight's Making Ends Meet.
If you're planning to travel with your family this summer, a bit of planning can save you money as airfare prices soar.
You're seeing airfare today look approximately where it was pre-pandemic.
Travel expert Scott Cahies has these tips to enjoy your family vacay without breaking the bank. Number 1, book flights now. Scott recommends booking at least a month before your summer travel.
Airfare tends to move in one direction in the last few weeks before a flight, and it's not down. It almost always goes up. By May, there's almost no hope.
Which brings us to number 2. Be flexible with your travel dates. Either shift them earlier or later to find cheaper options. And finally, prepare for any potential summer travel frenzy. Get to the airport early. Skip checking in your bags in case your flight has changed. And know your rights.
When you get that schedule change notification, don't view it as a negative. View it as an opportunity to get switched to a better flight without having to pay anything out of pocket.
Michelle Lee, 5 on your side.
Traveling by car instead of flying can cut families' travel expenses. The downside, of course, longer travel times and gas prices. AAA says we can expect another roller coaster ride at the pump this summer, but they don't expect record high prices like we paid last June. Tomorrow, we know, will be a weather alert day. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us again with that Weather First forecast.
And we're just piling on the bad news here for you, Mike. It costs you more to fly, costs you more to drive. And tomorrow, we're going to have to deal with some pretty intense thunderstorms. At least some of us will. We don't think it's going to be what we saw on Saturday. That was pretty expansive across the area. This go round, it should be a little more scattered. There are some flight delays in and out of Lambert tonight. That's because of the active weather farther west and northwest of St. Louis. Kansas City's in on that right now. They also have some problems going down to Oklahoma City in St. Louis. Let's just talk about right now. It's still incredibly warm, 76 degrees. Here's a limiting factor, though. Our dew point's just 45 right now, despite the winds out of the south at 15 miles per hour. 85 was the high today, 55 the low. That dew point at 45. Just keep that in mind. That may be a limiting factor tomorrow afternoon in how strong the storms can get. We'll take any limiting factor we can get, right? Breezy conditions overnight, partly cloudy. We should stay dry. We will not be cool overnight. Temperatures are dropping only into the low and mid 60s. Your severe weather risk storm prediction center moved that level 2 risk, the slight risk, into St. Louis as we work through the afternoon hours today. Nothing going on our radar now other than ground clutter. Kansas City can't say the same. North and northwest of Kansas City. Intense storms, but not severe right now. You do have some pretty intense storms that have been severe and have a history of terrible tornadoes down here southwest of Oklahoma City, and then this one off around Shawnee in Oklahoma. That's causing problems right now. Effectively, this is the weather system that's going to impact us. But it's not just these showers and thunderstorms. There's a lot of cold air up here in Canada starting to swing down as well on the backside of this. So as we look at what's happening for tomorrow, we should start fairly quiet in the morning. As the cold front approaches later in the day, we'll start to see those showers and storms develop out ahead of that front. Some of them will get pretty strong pretty quickly, especially to our south. And then during the evening hours, they'll tend to push farther east and south of St. Louis. So let's get into our futurecast. This is our Weather First futurecast. Again, it's a weather alert afternoon. Morning hours should be fine, but as we head towards 2, 3 o'clock, watch this area out to our west kind of fill in with those scattered showers and storms. The storms themselves will move to the northeast as the whole line shifts to the east, all ahead of the front. Look for some brief downpours, gusty winds. We may be talking about some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds, but more scattered in nature than what we saw on Saturday. And it doesn't look like the environment's that favorable for tornadoes this go round. It all pushes out by tomorrow evening, and then the cooler air is surging in as we head through the weekend. So Saturday, we're struggling to get much above 50 degrees, and by Sunday morning, we're down around freezing or a little below west of St. Louis. Don't rush out to the hardware store or the garden center to plant anything tender over the next couple of days. Let's get through this round of chilly weather, because not only may we have frost Sunday morning, it could happen again Monday morning, and next week isn't particularly warm. Tomorrow's the warmest day out of the next 10. Weather alert day during the afternoon for the potential of those strong to severe thunderstorms. We will be here tracking, and don't forget, you can always find us on 5+ tracking as well if you happen to be on your mobile device.
Going to be a busy day tomorrow. Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike Scherzer was ejected. The Cardinals were electric, and Ueno was easing back into it. Stick around, please.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
So I don't know a soul in St. Louis who's not a little bit disappointed in the Cardinals being 8-11. However, I got to tell you, this offense has a chance to be special. It really does. It's been erratic so far, but they exploded today against Arizona. If they can pitch a little, they will be fine. Third inning, Madison Bumgarner did not like Wilson Contreras jawing at him, and the two exchanged words. No fighting, though. Awesome to see the 83-year-old Hall of Famer from the Cardinals, Mike Shannon, at the game. He got to see a majestic performance by Tommy Edman in the third, a 3-run blast, and the Cardinals led it 7-3. Edman wasn't finished in the fifth, a 2-run triple. Edman was a single away from the cycle. Cards led it 9-4. And then the best hitter on the team delivered again. How about Nolan Gorman with a grand slam? He has 5 homers, and his 18 RBIs are second in the league. Cardinals win it 14-5. I think the skipper likes his feisty catcher.
I think we're seeing more and more of the Wilson we're used to seeing on the other side, right? And this is a highly emotional player that feeds off of that.
If you say something to me, I will say something back. It was like, for me, it's like my game right there.
It was nice to put together a complete team win like that, where we kind of came out hot early and then shut down their offense late in the game. So nice to end the homestand on that note, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going into this road trip.
Adam Wainwright made his first rehab start today down in Springfield, expected to throw about 60 pitches. He came in at 59, including this 2-run homer, but that was the only damage he gave up. Going and finishing with back-to-back strikeouts, he's expected to make one more start sometime next week before being called up.
I controlled counts for the most part well today. I just was too much in the middle of the plate and gave up a few hits because of that. So that's why we're here, though. You know, that's why we're here. This is the first game out, and when I come back in, I'll be ready.
St. Louis and Max Scherzer has been very vocal about being above reproach when it comes to pitching with foreign substances on the ball. But today, umpire Phil Cuzzi thought he felt something in Scherzer's glove, so he made him change it out. The discussion continued an inning later. Scherzer saying it was rosin on his hands, which is legal, but Cuzzi ejected him. Scherzer now faces a 10-game suspension.
He said, my hand's too sticky, and I said, I swear on my kid's life, I'm not using anything else. This is sweat and rosin, sweat and rosin. I keep saying it over and over, and they touch my hand, they say it's sticky. And I, like, yes, it is, because it's sweat and rosin. And they say it's too sticky. It's not, and they threw me out because of that.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
Expansion teams in sports are supposed to be really bad. Remember the 1962 Mets? They won 40 games. Remember the 1976 Buccaneers? They didn't win a game. Our expansion team, City SC, has the best record in the MLS. And this Saturday, they face Stan Kroenke's Colorado Rapids. City SC has this incredible St. Louis ownership group. They simply can't allow the Kroenke group to win. Kroenke's soccer team, by the way, is like his football team this year, near the bottom of the standings. Coach, can we make this a St. Louis versus Kroenke thing?
I'm happy to join that narrative and happy to jump on board because all of that happened before my time. So I'm a tourist almost in that situation because I've never, obviously I know now the storyboard behind it. But again, all what drives us is to be competitive for the benefit of this organization, for the benefit of this community, and for the benefit of our fans.
The Grizzlies, without the injured Ja Morant, hosting the Lakers in Game 2. Dylan Brooks had the back-breaking bucket late. Memphis wins it 103-93. The series is tied at 1. Florida Panthers beat up on the Bruins tonight 6-3. However, former DeSmet student Trent Frederick from the Frederick Roofing family did extract some revenge late by pounding on the Panthers' Ryan Lomberg. A hole in his face or a whole new face, to paraphrase the slogan. Series is tied at 1.
All right, Frank, we'll be right back.
Well, Thursday is a weather alert day from your Weather First team, and here's why. The radar simulated for about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, showing scattered showers and thunderstorms approaching St. Louis. Some of them could have gusty winds and hail. We don't anticipate seeing a repeat of the widespread intense storms that we saw on Saturday. Nonetheless, this will be happening during the rush hour. Anthony will get you caught up to date starting at 4 a.m. tomorrow.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is Jimmy's guest. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. and have a great tomorrow.